Alright. Well, welcome everyone to our fall wood burning class. And today we're going to be doing some wood burning on a wooden slice. I'm going to be wood burning on this slice, but anything that I'm teaching you and anything that I'm going over today is possible to do on any of our unfinished wooden surfaces. So feel free to be a little bit creative with what type of surfaces you're using. Maybe you want to make some kind of wooden picture frame. Maybe you want to use a wood slice, a plaque. And then I'm even getting a little bit crafty with these wooden coffins that are currently out for Halloween right now. So I have been playing around with these wooden coffins and doing a little wood burning and adding a little bit of paint so that I have something fun to give the extra special trick-or-treaters. Or maybe it's going to be that thing where, like, if you have the best costume that I've seen all night, like this is the candy that you're going to get, because yes, I love Halloween. I love all things fall. So we have been having a blast with lots of different Halloween and fall classes. So if you haven't seen some of those other ones we've been doing, we've been paint pouring, we've been making the little miniature dioramas with pumpkins, we've been crocheting pumpkins, we've been doing so many fun things this fall. So feel free to go back to our YouTube channel and check out any of the classes that you may have missed. But today we are wood burning, and Felicia just put into the chat the PDF. It's really just something that's kind of almost handwritten that I'm going to use to trace. So if you didn't have a chance to get this, obviously ahead of time, you can print this out and you can try it later. Or you can even try kind of your own hand. Or another idea is to use coloring books, or if you have some kind of program like Canva, where you can just type up something real quick, have some different fonts. If you don't love your own handwriting, just make up a phrase or two, print it out, and then I'm going to show you how to transfer that onto your wood surface. So let's go ahead and switch over, and I'll tell you some of the tools and some of the things you'll be needing for our wood burning class. And the most important thing is this wood burning tool. So I'm going to be using a very basic wood burning tool that has an on-off switch. And I have switched it to on, and I'm going to let it go ahead and heat up. It usually takes about 1 to 2 minutes for it to get hot enough to be able to burn nicely. I'm going to go over some of the basics of how to use this tool. And then also with this tool, there are some different tips that you can use. So there are some different tips that do different things, and we'll talk about the different tips and what they do. By purchasing this wood burning tool, it comes with several of the tips. There are fancier wood burning tools than the one that I'm using that have gauges that tell you how hot to heat up. This one's just a basic on-off, and it comes with a couple of different tips. So this is a basic starter tool that I think is really great for this to be kind of a casual hobby. But if you get really into it, then you should definitely upgrade your things. I have a ceramic bowl to keep these tips, because if I'm going to switch out while my tool is hot, these tips that are coming out are metal, they're going to be hot, so I'm putting them into this ceramic bowl. You'll also notice that I have my little stand, and I have a piece of masking tape on the stand so that my stand doesn't kind of roll down my screen or roll down my desk and kind of fall to the ground and accidentally burn me. We do not want any accidents or any injuries. I also have a pair of pliers, as if I'm taking these tips in and out of the tool, I definitely don't want to touch them with bare fingers. I want to touch them with these pliers instead. And one final thing is, if you're interested in doing a transfer, this is some graphite paper. It's found in the Michaels aisles really close to all the craft paint, those little bottles of paint. So you can find this graphite paper, and I'm going to show you how to use this to transfer any kind of design, not just the one that I'm going to be using today. That's kind of like a handwriting font. But if you find any pictures, another good suggestion would be stencils. So you can get stencils at Michael's too. So if you don't want to print something out, if you don't want to handwrite something, you can always get a different set of stencils that might already say something, or might have some kind of like woodland creatures that you want to kind of do a fall wood burn with as well. So all of that said, we are going to do this gather around the table design, and I'm going to do the gather around the table design on this piece of basswood. So I am going to open this slice up, and the slice is natural. So there will be some divots, there will be some discoloration, and we'll just kind of make all of that a part of our design and kind of have fun with the natural way that it's just going to do what nature wants it to do. So I have this piece, and it definitely is natural because it's got some wood pieces that just kind of fell off. and I have this particular template. I'm going to cut the template down so that it's small enough to fit onto this round. And I'm going to set this up, and then we'll go over some of the basics of the wood burning while this wood burning tool is heating up. So I'm going to let it have a minute or two while we kind of get this portion set up and talk about these things. And then when it's nice and hot, we'll get going. So if this doesn't fit on the wood slice that you have, you can always use a copy machine and make it a larger size on a copy machine. Or if you have it as a digital file, you can kind of make that, you can shrink that, or you can grow that in order to have a good size. And then with the graphite paper, the way that you transfer with this graphite paper is there's a shiny side and there's a dull side to the graphite paper. So you're going to put the shiny side facing the wood, and the dull side is going to go facing up. And if you want to, you can also cut down this paper to be a little bit more the same size as the wood. So we have this. And then I'm also going to have a little bit of masking tape. And I'm going to go ahead and attach this stencil and this graphite paper and kind of put it in the place where I want it to stay so that while I'm tracing, it doesn't move around too much. So I think this looks like a pretty good location for this. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of masking tape. I think I missed the top of my paper up here. There we go. And then when you're using the transfer paper with this graphite, the graphite will go into the wood and you'll be able to see it pretty nicely. So you do not need to press with a lot of force. You don't need a lot of pressure. You just need a light kind of idea that you can go from. If you do a lot of extra marks by accident, the graphite is a little bit harder to get off the wood. You might even need to use a piece of sandpaper or something to sand down. It doesn't just naturally erase like a pencil would because the graphite is a little bit thicker and a little bit darker. So here we go. I'm going to take this pattern and I'm going to trace it. And I'm not tracing the outline. I'm really tracing in the middle of the letters. And I don't need to do the thickness of the letter because the wood burning tool is kind of going to do that part for me. And when I do actually do some of the burning, I'm going to start with this basic line, and then I'm going to keep getting thicker by doing a couple layers of burning. So I'm just using the graphite paper with the shiny side down. I've used a little bit of masking tape to keep it in place and keep it from moving while I'm tracing it. You absolutely can also use a stylus with a larger tip. So if you want to transfer the thickness of the letters too, you can outline them, that would be okay. Or you can use something thicker than a pencil to kind of push down right here. So I think that's what we're talking about when you're saying a stylus. And then when we start using the wood burning tool, you're also going to have some options of different tips. If you want them to be really thin and you want the lines to be very precise, there are different tips to use for that. And if you want it to be a little bit wider and thicker, there are tips to use for that. So before, this is a little tip that I've learned over the years, before I pull this all the way up, I am going to take a peek and leave this tape down and see that I was able to get the words pretty nicely and it looks good. And so then I can go ahead and take this all the way off. But if you leave this piece, it's going to be a lot easier to put back down if you accidentally forgot to cross your T or dot your I or do something like that. So now that I know that this is designed and it's where I want it to be, I'm going to put this off to the side, and this tool has now heated up. So we can talk about how to use the tool. So using this particular tool, if you're about to start on a practice piece and nothing is happening, check this first and make sure that you flip the on switch. Also double check, make sure that it's plugged into whatever electric source you have. When I'm holding it, I'm kind of holding it like a pencil. Anything before this plastic piece is going to be very hot and not going to be anything you want to touch. There is some heat that kind of radiates down the tool towards your fingers. So if it starts to get a little too hot or uncomfortable, you can wear kind of like a heat safe glove if you want to, and that could help you. There's a question or there's a comment in the chat too that says that there's transfer paper in white at Michael's. So yes, if you want to use that rather than the dark graphite, that white might be able to blend in a little better if you have any extra stray lines. So thanks for sharing that. And feel free throughout this class, if you have any of your own tips or if you have any of your own ideas or suggestions, go ahead and share those with all of us so that we as a community can kind of craft together. So I'm holding this kind of like a pencil. And the first thing I'm going to want you to do to try out your tool is to make dots. So I'm also going to watch this cord, because if this cord gets caught on my table, it might start dragging my hand down. So I sometimes hold on to the cord with my other hand to make sure that it's not getting caught on anything. And I'm just going to make a dot and I'm going to release. So I'm just going to hold down the tool and let it do its thing and make a couple of dots and release. And what you're going to start noticing is that the longer you hold it down, the darker the dot, the deeper the dot, sometimes the wider the dot. If you hold it down for a very short amount of time, you can get a really delicate, really easy, light dot right there. So try some different thicknesses, try some different pressures in order to see some of the different kinds and sizes and colors of dots that you can create. And obviously, if you want your dots to be thicker, you can start making kind of like a circular motion in order for them to get larger. Or you can build some dots on top of each other. So if I put a dot next to a dot, next to a dot, next to a dot, you can kind of like using that step in order to kind of put those together. All right. And then I'm going to start practicing some of my lines. So if I use a straight line, you want to keep it very smooth. You don't want to rush. You really want to take your time and drag that tool along in order to make a nice line. Now, if I go too fast, you're going to notice some of these things where you have these different marks. So if you go too fast, you're going to have some spots that don't get burnt and some spots that get burnt a little bit darker. And what's happening here is that if you make any kind of hesitation, it stays on a little bit longer, and then you're not going to be able to drag that across. So the longer it stays, the darker or the thicker the line's going to be. The shorter amount of time that it has access to the tool, the lighter and the smaller it's going to be. So you want to make sure that when you're going across in your straight line, that you're pulling as evenly as you possibly can. Now I had a couple hesitations because I was holding it in my hand. So you can kind of see how some of those dots get a little darker than the others. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to pull over top of that one more time and try to kind of even some of that out. So if you do have some discoloration or some parts that are thicker than you want it to be, then maybe you just change up your design a little bit and make your line a little bit thicker to accommodate for some of those dots that got a little dark. So know that there's always ways to kind of fix whatever it is that you're doing. Now that we've done dots and we've done straight lines on kind of like a practice piece of plywood, you might also want to practice doing some curves. So you can flip over your practice piece or you can still fit them on this side. And I'm just going to try and do more of like a curved or a wavy line rather than just a normal straight line. And kind of see and practice that a couple times to make sure that I can kind of keep that even pressure going, even as I'm moving to different directions. And yes, consistency is definitely the key. Slow and steady is definitely going to be what's going to help you with this particular project. So feel free to do some curves, feel free to do some lines, and just kind of get used to the tool itself and get used to how you're holding the tool. I'm going to go back and I'm going to make these a little bit thicker and kind of even them out. And it's always a rough draft until you decide that you're done. So you can keep working on it. You can't unburn it, but you can change the design a little bit. So the question in the chat says, are you using the tool without a tip? Great question. I am using a tip. So there are 4 different tips, and I'll take the time right now to kind of talk to you about those. The tip that I'm currently using is called the it's called the flow point, and the flow point is curved like that. So here's some of the other tips, and I'll kind of tell you what the differences are. I find that this flow tip is going to be easiest for sure for beginners. This one is called the cone tip. So as you can imagine, it has a cone towards the end of it, and this gives a very, very precise line. So this one is a lot narrower than the other one. And so you can tell that this one's going to be able to do a lot of details that this one might do a little bit thicker. What's nice about both of these is that they'll easily flow over the cracks in your wood, and they won't necessarily get caught on the wood grain itself. And then here we have another tip that's called the universal point. And this one's more like if you've ever done some old time calligraphy. And so you can do it as a very thick line going across. You can write with it like you would a calligraphy pen to kind of get some of that hand lettering style. You can also use it to do a lot of straight edges and corners and things like that because of that precision tip to it. And then the last tip that comes with this particular wood burning tool is called a shading point. And the shading point is really nice. You can imagine for feathers, for like scales on a fish, for birds, for different things like that with wings, because it's kind of like a brand where you kind of stamp it down onto your piece, and you're going to get that little footprint of what looks like a leaf or a petal or kind of a piece of fur. So the question in the chat also asks about changing the tips. So at this point, I will show you too that while this is plugged in, I can go ahead and change the tip, but I do want to have a ceramic bowl in order for this to go into. So I have my pliers, and with my pliers, I'm going to go ahead and twist the tool. Do not touch any of the metal pieces with your fingers. It will burn you. So I'm using my tools in order to unscrew that particular flow point. And then if I'm going to use the shading point, I haven't used it yet, so that's why I'm able to pick it up with my fingers. But I don't want to put it into the tool with just my fingers because it will start heating up pretty quickly. So you can do this while your tool is still hot and change out the different tips. You can also unplug it and do it and screw it in and out if you want to. But these tips will do pretty well heating up relatively quickly. So another question asked, do all the tips glide easily or does it depend on the type of burning? So good question. It definitely depends on the surface. You'll notice that all the surfaces I'm showing you so far are pretty smooth. They don't have a lot of the natural rough texture. Even this one that is a natural slice of wood, the rings and the kind of wood grain itself is very flush with the particular surface. So you're not going to get a lot of things that are going to catch your tool and kind of make some extra waves when you're doing your burning. So you do want to be careful with that you're not using something that has so many wood grains to it that your tool is going to get caught. So I do think that even we just switched that tip, I think this tip is going to be warm enough for me to already show you this, that I'm going to hold this tip onto my wooden surface. And then this is going to kind of burn that really nice shape. So it is kind of like branding. So if I do a couple of those and stack them together, you can see why this is called the shading tool. Because if you need to fill in a space and kind of burn over large portions of the wood, the shading tool can kind of brown all those portions of wood pretty quickly. And it leaves a really nice shape that it would turn into a really nice bird, a feather, a wing, a petal for a flower, something like that. You can put these together. There are also things that you can twist in and out of this particular wood burning pen that can do letters too. So you can use this as kind of like a branding tool, and you can put letters in and out of this tool and maybe even spell out somebody's name or something like that. So yeah, that shading you can see could easily turn into a flower, no problem at all. So there's another comment in the chat that says, this looks almost like a small leaf. So yes, you could definitely put these together in order to make that fall feel. Or even after we've done some lettering, maybe you want to add some little flourish around it with some kind of flowers, some kind of little ivy, some kind of little shading, just to kind of add to the piece itself. So all of those are good ideas. I am at this point going to go ahead and use my pliers to put my flow point back in. So I'm going to take these These ones, I haven't put in anything, so they're nice and cool still. And I'm gonna get my flow point back, and it might still be hot, so I'm gonna use my pliers to be extra careful. And I'm gonna go ahead and just twist this back in. And it's very easy to take these tips in and out. If you buy a more expensive wood burning tool, you'll have even more different types of tips to work with, but these are just some of the very basics. And honestly, these basics can take you pretty far. So now that we've been practicing some of our different techniques and how to hold your wood burning tool, we are going to go ahead back to our main project with these words. I'm kind of picturing this on a Thanksgiving table. That's kind of where my thoughts are. So you can put some extra flowers around it. Maybe this is where you put your pie at the end of the meal, and so it can sit out for a while, and then at the end it can have that extra time to shine when it becomes the pie holder as well. So there's another question that says how do you make the fall leaves on the frame? And we'll talk about that too. So let me get this lettering done and kind of show you the step-by-steps of how to do this portion. I'm kind of letting the tip heat back up since I just took it in and out using my pliers. But now I'm going to go through and I'm just going to do one layer. So slow and steady, but I'm going to try my best to kind of trace. It does not need to be perfect because this is my rough draft. This is just my first layer. And I am going to keep building on this until it's something that I like and something that I'm proud of. But you want to kind of go through and lay down one layer of your wood burn to kind of see where everything is and see what you want to be a little bit thicker, what portions you might want to be a little bit thinner, and just in general getting used to this wooden slice, because a wooden slice is going to be different than your test pieces for sure. So I'm doing one round of tracing. Oops. And what I love about wood burning is that, oh, I do see another question in the chat that I'll answer. What I do love about wood burning is that I'm not necessarily the best fine artist when it comes to drawing something, looking at something, and sketching something. But you better believe that I can trace. And if you can trace, you can wood burn. So you can let someone else kind of create a design for you, and then all you need to do is trace and transfer. And then you're going to be an artist as well. So there is an important question in the chat talking about the wood surfaces. So the question is, can you use wood burning tools on painted, stained, or treated wood? And the answer is no. If you are going to do any wood burning, you want to use an untreated, unpainted, clean, natural wood surface. So we have a whole aisle at Michael's of unfinished surfaces that are safe to burn on. If there are any that have that kind of glossy feel to them, or have some kind of paint on them, you don't want to use the wood burning tool, because by heating up that gloss or heating up that paint, you are going to be releasing some toxins and some chemicals. So you don't want to wood burn on something that is already coated, because you are going to have a hard time with some chemicals that are definitely going to try to make you sick. So if you want to do any kind of painting or any kind of other things, wood first, and then when you're done wood burning, then you can add some paint, you can add some dye, you can do different things. So I was telling you about this cute little coffin that I'm kind of obsessed with. So I did some wood burning and kind of made it like a paint by number sort of situation for myself. And then I came back with some Posca paint pens, and I went in between each of those little spaces that I created with the wood burn to kind of go ahead and make it look like a stained glass or kind of like a coloring book, just to add some fun extra color to that. So now that I have this one layer, I am going to go back and I'm going to slowly kind of build it out, which means my next line is going to be next to the line I already laid down, just to kind of thicken the letters. So I'll hold this a little closer so you can see what I'm talking about. But you'll notice that I didn't go over that same line again. I kind of went to the side of it because that's how I'm going to start making these letters thicker. And then you can imagine I'm going to come back through one more time and kind of fill in that gap. So the way to kind of build out the thickness of the letters is to kind of do lines next to each one of the lines you lay down, and then kind of come back and fill in any of the gaps that you might need to. So right now I'm just kind of making each of these letters thicker by laying down a line close to the one that's already there. Slow and steady for sure. So take your time. There have been a lot of really great questions, especially for people who are just starting out with this hobby. So if you have more questions, now would be a great time to keep putting them into the chat for me to answer. See if I can help you or give you any more tips as we continue. I'm so glad that so many of you were able to join me today live. And if you want to watch this video again later, it will be available on YouTube probably tomorrow. So we usually are able to put up the live classes about 24 to 48 hours after the class. I have a couple of other wood burning classes that I've already taught for different seasons too. I really love Christmas wood burning. So probably coming up in November or December. I love these wood slices. They're already in Michael's stores starting this past weekend. So you can start your Christmas decorating a little bit early. These wood slices are awesome. They don't have to be Christmas. I can take this red ribbon out and I can make these as place markers for a Thanksgiving table. So you could have everybody's name. You could write everybody's name down and put that where they would put their glass on the table or something like that. So some scripts for handwriting are definitely going to be harder than others. So I agree. I think that really any kind you can do, you just have to be patient and take your time with it. So another question is it safe to put a sealer when it's done? And that answer is yes, absolutely. And I can show you that too. This is a hope feather that I did a while ago. I do think this class is available on YouTube still. So if you want this pattern or if you want to try something like this will be available on YouTube. And then just to kind of show some differences, once I got the design done and burned with some extra little decorations, I tried the same thing and then I used paint. So I did a paint by number with the wood burn, and then you might be able to tell that this side is a little bit glossy. And so that gloss is me taking a clear acrylic sealer and spraying this, and then that makes it a little bit more treated so that I can put something wet on it. I can do something and it's not going to mess up the painting. It's not going to run. It's not going to change. So you can kind of do that. The approximate amount of time I would spend on something like this Hope wood burning, I think I would spend about an hour, maybe in an hour and a half doing this whole entire thing. So we have an hour together and I am going to take probably at least another 10-15 minutes to keep working on this. But if you become a little bit of a perfectionist, it's such a good meditative experience that I do want you to take your time. I might be rushing a little bit just because I want to be able to show you so many different things. But if I were doing this for myself and for my own table, take your time. Just really enjoy the experience. You'll also start noticing right away that this experience comes with a beautiful scent as well. So if you enjoy campfires, you're going to get a natural campfire smell. So be sure that you're wood burning in a place. Right now I have lots of fans running and I have windows open because it is nice enough to be able to do that. So I'm making sure that I'm not smoking myself out or setting off any fire alarms. So yes, that sawdust smell and that smell of this nice natural wood burning just really adds to kind of the fall feeling. I'm picturing myself at a campfire with friends, maybe a football game on a Friday. I used to be a teacher at a school in Ohio, and the high school would always have football games on Friday, and we teachers would have our own bonfire at somebody's house and just enjoy each other's company and tell stories from the week. You know how it is. So there's lots of fun things that you can do in fall. So what other kinds of questions do you have? Anybody have anything? Feel free to put it in the chat. or just kind of relax and watch me do this. Have I ever tried natural wood from the outdoors? Ooh, I haven't. I I've been getting my wood slices from Michael's, but if I were to have any kind of tips about preparing wood like that, I definitely think you should use some power tools to do some really good sanding. Um, if I tried to wood burn on this side right here, you can imagine that I would get caught up on all those different parts of the bark and the branch. So if there's a lot of stuff that's kind of sticking out, it's going to keep your tool from gliding. What I love about wood burning is that it's just like butter. It's like a hot knife through butter, and you just glide it along and let it do its job. So if it can't glide because there are too many natural pieces, then that's when you start getting a little bit more chunky with your design. It doesn't mean you can't make a design on it, but you're going to be making a more natural design. You probably wouldn't have very much luck with actual lettering. Yeah. And so somebody's saying too that maybe leaving some of the script lines with some of that emptiness, with some of that space, could be another good move too. So purposely kind of make them into bubble letters that I don't necessarily fill in. Also gives it a different look than me completely filling it in. So thanks. I love it when y'all participate in the class. It's so much fun for me to kind of bounce ideas back and forth with you. So are the burn lines deep enough to run back over them with ink or paint? Yes. So they will definitely leave little track marks, I guess you could say, or burn marks. And when I was making my little mini coffin, they left those lines. So it was very easy to go back and paint because I'm just literally painting between the lines. But because they do kind of make a track, another idea is if any of you are fans of gold leaf, you could do a little bit of a wood burn. And because it's leaving that little track, you could put some gold leaf or some gold dust into those wooden grooves. And that might be another fun way to kind of make something even more festive or fancy. But to be honest, I really like the idea of a natural wood burn in a natural piece, or something like this one I'm using that definitely looks very natural. So the tip that I'm using is called the flow point, but some of the other tips are the cone tip that's very detailed. So if I needed to do something teeny tiny, or if I need to fit a lot of words. Also, I would use this cone tip if I was going to do the idea I suggested before of maybe making placemats, or not placemats, but little name tags or name cards for people for a Thanksgiving table. I would probably use the cone tip in order to do someone's name so that I could really have a lot more control over where I'm going. So yeah, another person in the chat is reminding us not to use fresh cut green wood, because as you can imagine, just like adding a piece of green wood or leaves that are not brown to a fire, you're going to get a really nasty kind of smell. And you're also going to kind of dampen the campfire you got going on. So you don't want to use something freshly cut. You definitely need to give it some time to dry out and have that moisture removed, because moisture and wood burning are not going to go well together. They're not going to be friends. So thank you for that tip too. That's a great call out. And I like that in this particular piece, it has character, right? It has some little notches. It has some different things. I like that. It helps to remember that it's like a natural piece. If I wanted something that said gather around the table on a perfect piece of plywood, I would do that. I would use a computer or I would buy one, but I'm hand making this. So I like that it's not always perfect and that it has a little bit of extra character. And then one of the things that I like to do too is I like to kind of add a little bit of accent here and there. And I'm going to just kind of add some dots and add some lines. I probably noticed on the Hope one that I did that once I kind of got my main picture down, I just added some little things here or there to kind of fill the space. So if you're more of a minimalist, you can be done, or I can keep spending a little bit more time making these letters a little bit thicker, and I probably would. But right now what I'm going to do is kind of fill out the rest of this design with a little bit of kind of doodling. So you can burn on a thin piece like plywood. So the right now at Michael's too, because it's still right around Halloween time, we have these adorable, cute little plywood shapes. So there's some ghosts, there's some tombstones, there's some witches' hats, there's some big pots, there's some brooms, there's all sorts of fun little wooden shapes to play with. And when it comes time for Christmas and things like that too, you can imagine that there's lots of these also. So these little plywood pieces, you can add a fun touch. So maybe I'm just going to put a part of my name on this, just to kind of add something. And then you can imagine putting this on a gift as like a gift tag or something like that. So yeah, there are so many different choices and so many different things to do. Or you can just kind of add some extra lines. I can go back and I could add some paint to this if I wanted to, or I can just leave it with that natural wood, maybe put a little piece of ribbon through this handle and then attach it to something I'm going to give to someone. A witchy friend might deserve a bottle of wine and have their name on it, have a little cute little cauldron for them, something like that. So yeah, any of these plywood shapes are wood burnable, and they don't have any treatment on them and they don't have any paint on them yet. So you're feel free to wood burn some inscriptions, do some funny things with that. Also, some of those shapes I showed you, like the coffin that are already three-dimensional. I thought I had a blank one, but I don't seem to find it right now. We also have these, a lot of times by the checkout line, there are these cute little tiny dollar little hanging frames that have a nice little piece to put on the back to hang on a wall or hang right next to maybe in a bathroom or something like that. So you can imagine wood burning a little message into here, or maybe wood burning the frame around it and then using a Cricut or something like that to maybe do some lettering in here if you don't want to do the wood burning inside. So in order to protect it, if you're gonna put some kind of top coat, there is a crystal or a clear sealant that's a spray can that's by the spray paint that you can use. You can also use Mod Podge. So Mod Podge is going to be something else that you can use in order to kind of seal that. Just let it dry. Probably I'd let it dry for a good 12 hours before I tried to touch it or mess with it. But then, like I was showing at the very beginning of class too, once you have some special little touches, oh my God, like how cute is that to just give to someone as a little extra treat for Halloween? I know. We were obsessed with diorama pumpkins. I think that was 2 weeks ago. So there's some YouTube videos that I used all the miniatures from Michael's to make all kinds of diorama pumpkins, and I am still pretty obsessed with making them. So feel free to look at my Instagram, which is the number 4M Coleman. That's my personal Instagram. And you can see some of the different things that I've been up to this fall. There have been a lot of fun crafts that we've been doing together. So right now I'm just adding lines and dots. I'm not thinking too hard about it. I'm just kind of fitting in what feels good and adding in some extra flair, kind of following the lines of the actual wood itself. If any of you are able to do some wood burning and make any projects, we would love it if you shared them. If you have Instagram, if you want to tag us at Learn with Michaels, we would love to see what you're making so we can show it off to everybody. And just this little bit of adding a couple dots here or there and a couple of lines really kind of make this piece feel more complete and more polished. And I will take a little bit more time to keep making my letters a little bit thicker so that it's easily read from across the room. This flow point just goes really naturally. If I was using one of the other points, it would take a lot longer because the flow point also has a nice width to it. So I'm able to burn a pretty good amount of space at a time. And like I mentioned before, if your tool starts getting too hot, then you're always welcome to wear a heat glove to kind of protect that. So I'm so glad that some of you are inspired to try this, and I want someone to work with that calligraphy tool. That tip is very cool. It can make some very different kinds of designs than the ones I've been showing you so far. I think this looks very classy. I'm someone who is not very good in the kitchen. So when I get invited to a Thanksgiving dinner, I will be bringing the crafts and I will be bringing the decorations. I will not be bringing any casseroles, and I will definitely not be bringing any turkey. So if you're inviting me to your Thanksgiving table, I'll bring the crafts. That's for sure. Yep. They feel me. They know what I'm talking about. I love it. So I'm pretty happy with this. This is starting to get thicker, so then that's going to make me want to make more of these a little bit thicker too, just kind of match that. But I just go with whatever happens. You know, as Bob Ross would say, there's no mistakes, just happy accidents. So you roll with what punches give you and turn it into something beautiful for sure. Oh, we have someone sharing in the chat. That is so cool. If you're on live with me, go ahead and check out that chat so you can see somebody's drawing. Cool. Nice. All right. I think we are wrapping things up. If there's any last minute questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of spend a little bit more time perfecting this one. You can see my finished piece on 4M Coleman, which is my Instagram. And I'll go ahead and post that for you after I've kind of perfected it and just kind of tweaked it here and there and just made it even nicer for myself. So thank you all for joining me today. It has been a pleasure wood burning with you. I hope you come back and we wood burn again towards Christmas time, where we can do some ornaments and some different things with stencils. So I hope that you've enjoyed this class and maybe learned a thing or two, and please come back and craft with us again. Bye, everyone.